my name's Chris, and today we'll be taking a look at NWH Vehicle Physics 2 from NWH Coding. We'll take a look at the asset pack and run through how to get it working with your own model. We'll also be looking at some of the features and settings you'll have available with your vehicles. It's a very versatile pack. For this video, I'll also be using the POLYGON Street Racer pack by Synty Studios, as it has a good variety of vehicles to showcase this asset. However, you can still follow along using any vehicle model you have, as the concept will be the same no matter what model you choose. Okay, let's jump in. So for this video, I'll be using Unity 2020.3. I've got a blank project here and I've just imported the two assets. So I've got the Vehicle Physics and the POLYGON Street Racer pack. So the very first thing you want to do is head to Edit, Project Settings, under Player, Other Settings. Make sure you've got linear selected. The default will generally be gamma. Just change that to linear. And then we'll just take a quick look at the pack. So it comes with 3 demo scenes. The main one we'll look at will be the racetrack. As you can see there, straight out of the box, you could make a pretty good sim game. And if we reset, we'll just have a quick look at some of the other vehicles. You get a vehicle like this that has a lot of the realism, which makes it hard to control. And you've also got a lot of the toggles down here, so in traction control. Okay, so we'll jump over to the demo scene that comes with the POLYGON Street Racer pack. Again, you can use whatever you want. This is just a good scene for me to use as a showcase for the pack. Find the vehicle that you want to use. In this case, I'll just be using this nice simple vehicle. First thing to do, unpack your prefab. If you have good vehicle collision already in place, you can leave this on your vehicle. I removed mine as I used the vehicle setup wizard to add the new collision. However, no matter what method you use, make sure you delete any collision that is already on your wheels, as otherwise your vehicle will go nowhere. Next up, select your vehicle, add a component, vehicle setup wizard. For the preset, you can see there's a selection of vehicles here to choose from that will set all the defaults for your vehicle. These can be changed after setup, so don't be too worried about that, but just choose something that's the closest to what you're wanting to set up. So here we'll go a sports car. As we remove the colliders, we will use the setup wizard to add the correct colliders, and then we need to assign the main body mesh for our vehicle. When it comes to wheels, depending on how many wheels your vehicle has, whether it's a truck or a car, add the correct amount of wheels. Then hopefully your wheels have got a similar naming scheme to this. So if they don't, just go through, select your wheels and rename them just to make it easier to add, as they need to be added in a specific order. As you can see here, left to right, front to back. So we want front left, front right, rear left, rear right. If you're wanting to use the camera that comes with this pack and not your own, then make sure that's selected. And then if you're wanting to use a first-person controller that also comes with the pack, that you can walk around, get close to a vehicle and enter the vehicle with the enter exit points, then make sure that's also selected. And then we'll run the setup. So if I was to run this, I've now got my first-person controller, but as you can see, I'm unable to control it. So I've got my controller over here, nothing happens. So to get our controls working, we'll create an empty game object and we'll call that Scene Manager. And then our components we want to add are a input system scene input provider. and an input system vehicle input provider. These two alone will let you use your mouse and keyboard for controls. You can then also add additional input providers to this same game object, whether you want mobile controls or a steering wheel. You can add as many as you like, depending on how many different inputs that you want to take. And you can keep them all together on the one game object to keep things neat and clean, or you can separate them out. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so now that we've got our input working, we then want to add the ability to get in and out of the vehicle. So to do that, we want to add a vehicle changer as well as a character vehicle changer. And as we've added the character vehicle changer, we want to tick character based for the vehicles. Assign all the vehicles that you have, so you can obviously have multiple vehicles to be able to get in and out. In this case, we just have the one. For your character, we've added a rigid body FPS controller, so we will assign that. The enter distance, we'll set that to 1, so within 1 meter you'll get the pop-up to be able to get in and out of your car. The enter exit tag, as you can see under your vehicle, when we set it up we had the enter exit ability selected, so the tag there is enter exit point. So on our scene manager, under tag, we'll set that to enter exit point, and the speed we'll set that to 5. So you need to be under 5 to be able to enter the vehicle. And then we'll head to NWH Vehicle Physics 2 demo prefabs, and we want to drag in the demo UI. As we're using a vehicle changer, the data will be coming from our vehicle changer. And as far as setup goes, then the last thing to do, if we head to the game tab here, you can see the aero, ABS, TCS and ECS toggles. So everything else will currently work, these ones won't. So to get them working, head to your car. Under your vehicle controller, you'll see your modules are empty. So we'll add those, search for module, add aerodynamics, the ABS, TCS, and then the ECS. So the 4 of those, you can obviously customize all of the settings, but they'll allow these toggles here to turn them on and off. So now if we play the scene, we can now run around. We'll get the pop-up to enter our vehicle. And then if we turn these on, you'll see how much of a difference it makes to your vehicle. So now that that's done and everything's set up, then back into your vehicle under sound. You can change how your vehicle sounds in a lot of different ways. So for me, I changed the pitch of my engine down a little bit, my force induction. I changed the pitch range of the turbo whistle and the volume, lowered both of those. And I got what I think is a pretty good sound for my vehicle. There's a lot to tweak in there, so take a bit of time just to tweak it and see what you like. For me, I wasn't too keen on the really loud turbo whistle, so I just lowered that down. Then moving on to the effects. So as you could see, my model, it had all of the lights lighting up when I was braking, and that's just because I've set up in the lighting tab. So in my vehicle, under effects, lights, rear. For the brake lights, I've just got my mesh of the vehicle and it'll change the emission, but as this does not have separate meshes for the brakes and the indicators and the front lights, it's just enabling that for the entire vehicle. So if you do have a vehicle that has separate meshes, you can just assign your meshes here. So you would do your brake lights, your reversing lights, your front lights. You can also do it as a light to have the light shine out the front. Set all those up separately and they'll just work as is. You don't have to do any additional work. So it's just a matter of assigning all your meshes, putting in any light sources that you want, and you're good to go. Okay, so we'll just run through the surface detection here. So I've just set up a quick scene with some planes, and I've got the road, grass, the sand, and the dirt. So this one here is tagged as a road, and then these ones haven't been set up yet. So if you look at the tags, we've got road and dirt road, and that's all that's in here so far. So this one here, we'll change that to dirt road. And then if you go into your vehicle, under effects, ground detection, you can see everything is set up here. So your surface maps. So if you were to use planes or models, similar to how I'm doing it here, if you go through, you can see asphalt here has a tag of road. Your sand has no tag. So let's add sand for the tag. Grass also has no tag, so we'll add grass for that. And then your dirt road has dirt. And then you've got rocks, which we don't have set up. So the ones we've added are grass and sand. So now if we go onto the grass, we'll add the grass and the sand tags. And then we'll change the tags appropriately. So then if we were to play, you'll see the 4 different effects that we'll get here. As well as how the car reacts on the surface. So the grass is very slippery. Okay, so I've hidden what I had there, my planes, and I've gone ahead and made a terrain. So if you look at your vehicle, under FX and ground detection, you'll see in here again that the terrain texture, they all have numbers here. So if we look for 0, so whatever the first slot in your textures is will be gravel, the second slot will be grass, the third slot will be your road, the fourth slot would be your sand, and the fifth slot would be rock. So just take note of that. So then when it comes to painting your texture, just make sure you add them in that same order. So now anything that's painted as this one here will be your dirt. Anything that's painted with this one will be your grass. This one here will be your road. And this one here will be your sand. So then when you hit play, and we jump in our car. So as you can see, whatever you've painted onto your terrain based on your textures here will then impact what it thinks the surface is. And no matter whether you go the terrain option or the plane or the model option, the mesh, it'll work across all of them. You can obviously mix them as well, and they'll just work. Okay, so back to the demo scene again. We're just going to have a look at a couple more modules. So under your vehicle controller modules, we're going to add a fuel module. And then in the fuel module, you can set your capacity, your current fuel amount. So you could start the level, say, with 5. So you have almost an empty tank. You can set your efficiency, idle consumption, consumption multiplier. So the consumption multiplier might be handy if you, say, have got a lot of damage to your car and you want to start leaking fuel. You can up your multiplier to burn through your fuel much quicker to give the effect and illusion that you are leaking fuel. And then in your events, when you do actually run out of fuel, then you can fire off different things here. Say if you want to end the game or whatever you might want to do, then you will call them. Done is I've set up a repair zone. And I've basically got my trigger collider here with my particle effect on the inside. And then I've got a fuel zone with the same deal with my trigger collider and my particle effect. And then if we take a look at the scripts, so these are just very basic. There's no real checks happening. So just to be aware of that. So we are grabbing the vehicle changer reference, and then I'm grabbing the fuel module reference from the vehicle changer, and then setting the fuel amount to the fuel capacity. So basically setting it back to a full tank. And then I'm playing the audio and then disabling. You will obviously want to check that you do actually have valid references to all these things before you start doing anything, but that's just the basic concept of how you can refuel your car. And the same deal with the repairing the vehicle. So just checking that it is actually a vehicle, grabbing the vehicle changer reference, and then from that, the damage handler and repairing the car, playing the audio, disabling the game object. Again, you'll want to make some checks to all of that to make sure it's all valid first. And so then when we play, if I bring up the car and the modules and powertrain, you can see the fuel levels here. So my current fuel level. And as soon as I go get in the car, start it up, you'll see the fuel level starts to go down straight away. And as soon as I drive through, my fuel level has gone up. So you can obviously call references to this data as well as setting it to then have your own little HUD here. And we'll just bang up our car a little bit more. That looks pretty good. And then we'll drive through the repair zone. And you can see there, it's just instantly repaired your car. And then the last change that I wanted to make was the damage as it's set seems a little bit higher for this specific model. So if you go into your vehicle, in the vehicle controller, under FX and then damage, you can see all of your settings in here. So your damage intensity, if you want to crank that right down. And then you can change all of your mesh deformation as well. So if you want your radius and your strength to come right down. You can see that's a bit more subtle. I'd probably for this specific model still put it right down. And the same as before, in here you've got your on collision events here. So you might have a game where one of your objectives is to have no collisions or a certain amount of collisions. So in here you could track your collisions, and then if you get over a certain threshold, then you could end your game, end the mission. That wraps up the NWH Vehicle Physics tutorial. The download links for the assets mentioned in this video are available in the description. I hope you found the video useful for getting started with the asset. If so, please give the video a like. If there's something that you still want covered in a little more detail, then leave a comment on the video to let me know. And why not subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the latest Shantech Learn content. Thanks for watching.